Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the F1 2017 AOR Hype Energy F2 League on the PC Season 15 round number 10, the Singapore Grand Prix. My name is Thompson, and joining me in the commentary box for tonight is Julio Massa. Good evening.
Good evening, everyone.
So, finally back in F2. It's been a while for us too, but it's good to be back. After the break, we personally had to take last week. In case you missed it, just a quick look at the standings, and we can see Gurks won that last race in Monza and is now equal on points with nobody on 123. Closely following the two is Slick in third, only 6 points behind, Smash 16 behind, and Vadkin 25 behind. And it is fairly realistic for all five of them to say that they still are within shot of that championship title. Isn't that right?
It's certainly right, and every single round will be more and more crucial because of the short season. I think it's round number 10, if I'm right. So
yeah, so only six races to go, including this one.
Yeah, 2/3 of the season gone after today.
So let's have a look, a short look at the track. Obviously, the Marina Bay Street Circuit in Singapore is where we're going to drive today. It was Formula One's first night race. 23 challenging corners over circle lengths of more than 5 kilometers. And yeah, it is a difficult track due to being a street track. The walls are very close, and every mistake can be your last. So I'd say let's get straight into things as drivers are going out on their fast laps.
Yeah, and I can tell you, although they are on slicks, it's starting to rain.
Yeah, we can see that slight drizzle there, so that's going to spice things up. So
just like yesterday's qualifying at Paul Ricard.
Yeah, so I bet everybody is going to go out as quickly as they can to set a lap in case the track conditions worsen. And obviously then it would be even more difficult to get in a good time. So let's set up everything.
My goodness me, like almost everyone is already on their flying laps or out laps. So of course they know more than us. And there could be more rain towards the end of the session.
Looking at how everybody is scrambling out of the pits, I'd say it's probably not going to get better otherwise.
Yeah. And already looking at the track, the grip levels are so low. Everyone's struggling for traction. Everyone has to deal with a lot of understeer. It's looking bad already, so let's wait and see. Probably the one who crosses the line first and doesn't make many mistakes will be more or less closer to the top. That's what I predict.
And we can see a big slide there from Vadka coming out of the slow corner.
Yeah, the striker has been really wide in turn 10. Almost went into the wall. Almost went into the wall on the Anderson Bridge. So
and again he's wide. So that won't be a lap that's going to put him anywhere reasonable where he wants to be. The striker's still relatively new to this tier.
Yeah. I think Mr. Anka is going to be the first to crosses the line. Vatkan behind him, so let's see. The rain certainly seems to get even harder. 144 now, 0.1, set by Vatkan. And that could be a pole lap.
Yeah, considering the conditions, it's already a decent lap.
Yeah.
But obviously we have to wait and see what the other drivers do. Smash, that's a 144.7.
So still not a bad lap time, but everyone seems to be slower. Nobody with a 145.3, although he's being foiled by a Mercedes and a Red Bull ahead of him. But really, looking at the amounts of spray coming from underneath the cars, it's probably the end. Yellow flag in sector 3. Maybe that's been Johnny John, but no one is improving. Siniak or Ian Bachstein is back in the pit lane. So that could be it.
Yeah, looking at the times, they don't seem as if they're improving. And we can see it's not getting better. And that is a Red Bull on the wall. Was that Destroyker?
Yeah.
Yep, that was him. And that was probably only an in-lap, so...
Well, he was 9 seconds of the pace. He's now losing it on the straight. On St. Andrews Road, as it's apparently called. But I believe he tried maybe to improve on this lap, but he lost it. And well, right now the track is undrivable on slicks. DRS is now disabled.
Yeah, Siniak is now going out on Inters.
But apart from going into P14 ahead of Destroyka, I don't see him going a lot better. Destroyka has retired from the session after coming into the wall at turn 14. But I think we can safely say that Vatkan has taken pole today.
Yeah, he was the first of the what I'd consider the fast drivers. Out of those, he was the first to set his lap and had the best lap conditions, and I think that just helped him, really.
Certainly,
I mean, considering nobody, we know he's always fast, especially in qualifying, and he only sits in P6, more than a second off, and he came across the line quite a bit later, so that just speaks for how the conditions are. You can see Ian is now out on intermediates, and even he's struggling with the conditions. So
yeah, just coming back to nobody. First of all, he was quite a way behind Vatkan, but also he must have been slowed down a little bit because he had 2 slower cars ahead of him. That's also some sort of maybe distraction and just thing that slows him down. But really, looking at the leaderboard, everyone's retiring from the session. They know they won't improve their times. Only guys from P15. But Assassin is, well, he's retired as well, probably. Ian is trying to set a lap on Inters, but apart from getting on the leaderboard, he will be in P15. Ake is still in the pit lane.
So let's see what he can do. Although, is he already in the flying lap? I don't even know. That was just his out lap, so now he's on that flying lap.
Yeah, sorry for the technical difficulties. Ake also has retired from the session, so we have only Ian on track. Katie retired. We may actually have the qualifying session cut short because of all those retirements. But let's see, well, AOR Apex tries to go out also on Inter, so Toro Rosso guys are fighting.
I'm wondering why, especially Apex is still out or going out on Inters. Is there a chance of rain during the race? And they may be doing a few practice laps. That could be a thing.
We don't know.
Obviously the drivers know, but we don't, so...
Yeah.
Yeah, it's only the 2 of them left, and we have 2.5 minutes left in the session.
But certainly a wet race would be interesting here. I mean, this track is already very tricky.
Yeah, and when it's wet, it's just a lottery.
I'm sorry for that. My microphone's having a bit of a problem with itself, but hopefully from now on.
That's a big slide for me in there. nearly hit the wall with the rear left tyre.
Incredible car control, but but it certainly didn't. It certainly slowed him down. Ian has retired from the session. Oh, okay. So we only have one car on track. And one car competing in that session. Wow. Coming out sideways out of the final corners, but there is no track action.
Yeah. I mean, that must be practice laps. I don't know why else he would do that. So I guess there's going to be some sort of rain action during the race, because he's not going to improve on his 149 that he set on a dry track.
Especially when he's already cut the track in the first 3 corners.
Yeah.
He won't. Even if he improves somehow, he will have an invalid lap. But that may be a hint for us.
Yeah, or it's just I don't know. Maybe there's some discussion going on in the voice chat that the drivers are in, and maybe he just wants to annoy a few people who just want to skip qualifying. Who knows?
Well, we have 20 seconds to go, so that is the final lap we're seeing. Coming out on the Esplanade Drive. It's funny because I got a track map with all the street names. So, watch out for me.
Eli says it's going to be a dry race. And the source of that information would be Smeege, who has qualified in 7th. So, yeah, maybe AOR Apex is just a bit bored, I don't know.
Yeah, he just wants to annoy some people. Or maybe 149 is improvable. Oh, and
he crashed it into the wall. So that is the qualifying results for you. Vatkin on pole position, beside him his Hungarian friend Gurks. Then we have Smash with a good time in 3rd, Slick P4, Mr. Anchor 5th, nobody who is in the championship lead at the moment, only down in P6.
Aye. So 3 drivers without time. Destroy 9 seconds of the pace, but the track conditions gradually get worse.
So now on to the race, and as we still see the pit lane, the drivers are on the grid, and obviously they're going to get ready for the race. And we'll just give them a little bit of time to do their setup adjustments and the fuel loads, etc. Tyre choice, if they can. Obviously the top 10 will have to start on the ultra softs that they qualified on. And then we will get the race on the way. Counters now on the top right. So we've got a bit more than 20 seconds to go till race start. And then we should have a pretty exciting race, as this here has always delivered so far.
Oh yes.
5 seconds to go. Just waiting for Sasson now to get ready. And we'll jump to the grid. The lights are on, and 4 lights, 5 lights. And it's lights out, and away they go. We can see the Haas there gets a very good start. Gurks directly challenging Vatkin there for the lead. We can see a bit of sideways action there in the back. It's too wide down the field. Everybody trying to make a move now. And Vatkin still ahead of Gurks there, who's putting him under immense pressure. Slick in 3rd, Smash there in 4th. They're still side by side, and a lot of people there trying to make their move this early in the race. And Gurk still trying to go round the outside this time. Just turns to the inside for the next corner here, but Vatkin is just that little bit too far ahead for him to do anything about it. Everything clean down to the back so far. And that is actually nobody who's already in P4, who's now under pressure from Smash, who wants to regain that position there off him. But now coming to the Anderson Bridge, that's obviously going to be a difficult spot to get past. I mean, it's not impossible, but it is tight down there. So looks like everybody has settled in a line for now. And the first few corners, everybody has survived.
Yeah, exactly. No collisions in the background. Our leader is still Vatkin. Gerks, well, he had a great start, but somehow great defensive driving by Vatkin put him in the lead position. Slick got up into P3. Nobody got up into P4. And for now on, everyone seems to be settled into the race quite nicely. Vatkin with the fastest lap of the race, but that's predictable when he is leading. But already that fastest lap has been quicker than pole lap.
Yeah, so that just says a lot about how bad the track conditions were in qualifying.
Yeah, exactly. But looking down at the field, the striker got up into P13. He was in P4. He was starting in P14, if I'm right.
Everybody behaving for the moment.
Yeah, and Ian just got past Johnny John into turn 7, that was, and the Toro Rosso is up into P14 now. And just behind Johnny John is 8, but will he try and overtake the Sauber into turn 10? It's tricky to go here, but no. Also worth noting is that Ian is on super soft tires, and he's got past ultra soft runners. So watch out for him later in the race.
And nobody now putting supreme pressure on Slick. He's now right behind him, and that is the battle for the first step on the podium. Right in front of them is Gerks, who has already lost a whole second to Vatkin. So the McLaren now out of DRS range of Gerks, and DRS should be available next lap.
Yes, Slick just behind Gerks. Nobody just behind Slick. It's going to be a three-way fight for P2, but that really is well, that's a really important fight when we're talking about championship lead, because we have drivers level on points.
Slick
fighting
now
with each other.
closing up onto Gerks. Gerks goes defensive. They're to the inside. The Mercedes is now on the outside. They both brake very late, and Gerks can hold on to that position. But now Slick has to watch out, because nobody comes into the equation here and tries to take advantage of the two holding each other up. But looks like Slick can hold nobody off for now.
Yeah, when they are fighting like that, they also give opportunities to Smash, because he's now close down to within half a second of them. So in a minute we'll have a four-way fight for P2, and that also plays it beautifully into hands of Vatkin, who's already 1.6 seconds ahead of Gerks. That's very good thing for him.
Yeah, that definitely is going to help him pull away of that fighting pack behind him, and once you get that early lead, it's going to be difficult for the cars behind to re-close that gap, and Vatkin knows that, and so I bet he's pushing like a madman at this stage.
Yeah. Let's see. Ian is just half a second behind the Striker. The Striker has just decided to go straight in that first few corners. We have quite a bit of train from P8 to P16, really. the train led by Smeege, then Caldo 2 tenths behind the Mercedes. Caldo will try to go down the inside into turn 7, and he is now up into P8. But behind Caldo is, behind Smeege right now is Matthias. He was looking for a space into turn 8, but nothing happened. Apex in P11, Skady in P12, the Striker in P13. Ian just behind them, and maybe Johnny John. Well, he's still not that far behind. Ake also within the close distance. So that's probably the biggest train we have right now.
Yeah, and one small mistake can cost you a lot of track position at this point of the race. And Caldo did get past Smeege there, but he's struggling a little bit to try and create a gap towards Smeege. That is pretty obvious. So at the moment, Caldo's driving the choo-choo train.
Probably not as long train as we've had in Australia at the beginning of the season, but it's certainly one of those longest trains we've seen this season.
Caldo had a good third sector there. I don't know if Smeege had a mistake or if Caldo just had a brilliant sector, but Caldo has managed to pull out a small gap to the cars behind. So if they start battling now, that's going to help him, and he should be able to pull away. That is P8 for him now.
Yeah, but right now 5 for P2 resumes. As Slick will try to go around the outside in turn 7. He still is there, so we'll have the inside going into turn 8. But they are still going side by side, so now Gerks will be on the inside going into turn 9. And Gerks still stays in P2, and nobody has caught up to them. Slick just has a look into turn 10, but it's impossible to go here with those wide cars. So again, we have a 4-car train fighting for P2, and Vatkan already is 2.5 seconds ahead of Gerks.
Yeah, it looks like Gerks is holding the cars behind, but also is holding them up. So everybody's quite desperate to get past them because they know each lap that they are behind Gerks, Vatkan will pull that gap out more and more until they won't have a chance to get back at Vatkan and challenge for that victory today.
Some interesting things going on. AOR Apex lost a bit of front wing as he's gone down into P15. The Striker, meanwhile, got disqualified from the session for reversing on the track after he gone straight in turn 14. So from that long train that we've had from P8 to P16, the train has got down to almost non-existent train. AOR Apex came into the pit lane right now.
I've been commentating and driving in AOR for a few seasons now, and I don't think I have seen a disqualification due to driving the wrong way yet. So that definitely is a new one, and it's going to be interesting to see if we can hear how that actually happened.
Well, he was reversing because I've seen him going straight in turn 14, and he was reversing, but he was reversing for such a long time that he almost got on the racing line in that turn 14, and apparently that's what meant he got disqualified. I don't think he had wrong intentions or something.
Is just a bit of bad luck there, really.
Yeah.
And I bet he's not going to be very happy about that, but that is just how the rules are, and if the game detects that you're going in the wrong direction for too long of a time, or too far of a distance, you will get disqualified, and that is what has happened here with the Red Bull.
The Red Bull of whoever. I don't have the other open. But
that is because El Sonny is not here today.
Yeah, I just remember that's one of the drivers we were missing today. But I wanted to say that Caldo is driving a really good race, at least for now.
Want me to take a guess what that why that is? Cole had a lot of connection issues, as some viewers might know who have watched more races, and he has resolved that issues. And
that's great.
I think he said because it's a tech genius, but then he said it was pure luck. Yeah, but he has resolved the issues, and it looks like it's definitely helping him because he can just concentrate on driving instead of praying that his connection is gonna bear with him.
And so, was that around 10, and he solved his issues? Well, it's taken him some time, but hopefully right now he won't get disconnected because he's driving a really good race. 3 seconds behind I named was 2 seconds, well, almost 3 seconds ahead of Smeech, so he is in that sort of no man's land, but driving for solid points right now.
And still fiercely holding on to that second position, and we can see slowly even the cars behind Smash are closing in. That is the Williams of Mr. Anchor and the Ferrari of I Nameless. So Gerks is really parking the bus there for the cars behind.
That's that sort of track where you can park the bus and they're still ahead of them.
I mean, it's not impossible to overtake, obviously, but
yeah,
it is difficult.
Yeah, but the straight from turns 5 to 7 is not that long. I mean, it's, what, 600, maybe 700 meters. And the DRS effect isn't that big.
Plus, you have to say, the times that Gerks was under attack, he defended that very well.
Yeah, that was a great defensive drive for him. Well, Mr. Outcast closing up on them, so he may also join the party. I Nameless also not that far behind, so if Gerks keeps on parking that bus, we might have six car train fighting for P2. Yeah, right.
Position changes at the moment, but looking at the time deltas, it could go very quickly.
Yeah.
And that was nobody there with a bit of a slide out of, is that turn 21, I think? And nearly hit the outside wall. But only just, so no harm done.
So for now we have 6-car train, more like officially fighting for that P2.
And there it is. That is Slick versus Gerks now. And now Slick finally got past Gerks there, and he will try and storm off into the distance. Well, Radkin is already leading by 4.5 seconds. So that is quite a gap he has to close down now.
Maybe the tires, the Gerks tires are now going off the cliff, because he's already lost a lot of time maybe a lot of track to Slick, because, well, half a second in a few corners is quite a bit already, but he couldn't defend that well, so maybe it's the tire issues that are now kicking in for him, and everyone around him will now have a great pace advantage. That Slick is ahead of Gerks, is now putting Slick in a great position. He's now flying. I really mean he's flying, because he's he's got the gap down by at least half a second. I Nameless got a 3-second time penalty for cutting the corners and smashes in the pit lane first.
Yeah, Smash is the first one to come into the pit lane, and obviously he was the last car in that battle there for the podium positions. So he is obviously the one that is going to try to do the undercut. So he came in a lap earlier than what the pit window would usually open. Puts on a set of super soft tyres and has a very, very empty track ahead of him, and he will try and utilise that. Has to watch out that he doesn't cross the pit exit line there, and now he is probably going to be on the fly and try to jump that group there and maybe come out in P2 after the pit stops.
3-second time penalty for nobody.
That's not going to help him in his pursuit for a podium spot, is it?
Yeah, certainly. 3 seconds, and only I Nameless is the other one who got the penalty.
See, Mr. Anchor and I Nameless have called up, and now the question is going to be, are they going to react to Smash's pit stop or not? So we'll have to wait and see if they drive into the pit after this final chicane here. So let's see, that is Slick coming in, Gertz coming in, nobody staying out.
And Vatkan is still staying out. It's interesting because Vatkan has always had those tire issues. Wasn't it him? And
well, he didn't have any fights to do in that stint, so he could at least try and save some tyres, and these guys didn't have that option. Now, where is Smash? Smash is back there. You can see him coming down the straight now, so this is going to be pretty close. Going with Smashers on board now, and he actually jumps Gertz and rejoins behind Slick. So if he is lucky, he actually jumps 2 positions and might find himself in effective P3 here. Gertz lost quite some time on that pit stop. He's now 2 seconds behind Slick, so he's lost a second there.
He lost quite a bit of time during his pit stop, and also he lost quite a bit of time because of his tires. I mean, Smash made an undercut, so and these tires, Gertz's tires especially, were destroyed quite a bit. So I think that's the main reason of that position change.
And nobody, Mr. Anker and I Nameless, are still out on track, and they have to come in this pit, this lap. I'd say otherwise they're going to hurt their track position immensely. So let's see if they come in. Yes, nobody comes in, and so does I Nameless. Mr. Anker still staying out, so he's probably trying to do an overcut.
Sorry for my reaction, but
let's see how the pit stops for those two go. Everything goes smoothly, and where are the other drivers? So where is
Slick is coming out. I'm sorry, I interrupted him.
So there's Slick and Smash, and where's Vatkan? Has Vatkan really jumped those two? That must have been absolutely...
No. Yeah.
What? No, sorry, he's behind the two. I thought he came out ahead because I couldn't see him anywhere. There he is. So now we have...
Vatkan is in P6.
Yeah, Vatkan also stopped. So we have effectively Vatkan, Slick, and then Smash in P3, and then it's Gertz and nobody. So nothing really changed as expect of Smash jumping 2 cars, because he was the first one to do that undercut. And it's going to be interesting to see whether his tyres can hold out, what's that, 21, 22 laps on the supers, so that's going to be a bit of a stretch. But he's got a bit of a buffer to Gertz behind at the moment.
But remember one thing, Vatkan had around 4 or 5 seconds. Oh.
Ake has spun and was into the inside wall there.
Let's
and
turn
now
to
has quite severe front wing damage, so he will have to come into the pits
turn 9.
again. And yeah, that really hurt his race.
Yeah, but I was trying to say, well, Koldo and Mr. Ranka are now in the pit lane, and Matthias as well. But I was trying to say that Vatkan had 4 or 5 seconds advantage over Slick before the pit stops began. And now look at the gap, 1.5 seconds. Does that really mean Slick will fight for the win today and take some points off Vatkin's tally? I mean, it certainly means that.
Yeah, he just has set the fastest lap of the session, and considering all of them have already done flying laps, it means Slick is currently the fastest of that top group. And one of the cars that hasn't stopped yet actually is Ian, formerly known as Signac, so he actually gets to lead a lap or two, depending on how long he stays out. He has started on the super soft, so he can stay out for quite a few more laps. But you can see Vad can get quite sideways there coming out of that hairpin. It's not too far behind, so that lead group might catch up to him before he comes in for a pit stop.
Koldo gets a 3-second time penalty for cutting the track. Koldo down in P10 after his pit stop, so he's lost some time as well.
After the pit stops, the field has spread apart a little bit, but we have Smidge, who is in pursuit of Matthias. That is the fight for P11, and Vatkan gets a 3-second time penalty.
Yeah.
So it looks like sooner or later everybody will get a penalty.
That's one thing, but also Slick is now setting the fastest laps of the race. So we have the chance we might have a fight later on.
Looks like Assassin is in pits. So it's only Ian that is still out on his first set of tyres.
And he will still be out for a few laps. But
yeah, he'd should probably go to lap 20 or so.
Yeah.
Maybe 19 if he wants to stop early. Apex with a 3-second time penalty there. Skater now caught up to the back of his Sauber teammate there, Joni John. That is, as I try to find my word, P12 and 13 respectively. And Vatkin has now closed the gap to Ian, so that went pretty quick. And now the question is, can he get past quick enough, or will he lose that crucial time to Slick? I mean, he might have some luck considering where he caught up to Ian here. So we've got the straight now and DRS to overtake him. That was very close.
But that's certainly race critical. He's lost some time, not too much of time though. But that may have cost him a lot. Now let's see if Ian will defend probably for a bit, so Slick will lose some time. We still have half the race to go, so well, this is the longest race in the calendar.
Yeah, so we're doing a 50% race, and that's probably going to be like close to an hour, probably 58 or so minutes.
Considering the races always take their 1 hour 55, 57, so It's going to be really, really close to an hour. This is really the longest race. This is really the most challenging race in terms of concentration. That's really what we didn't say earlier. But the drivers need a lot of concentration here. Assassin gets a 3-second time penalty. And as you said earlier, everyone will get these penalties sooner or later because it's almost impossible to stay within the track limits for that.
Yeah, and you can see Slick is already losing time to Vadkin there, and again he can't get past Ian on that front straight, so now he will have to do it on the next straight, and Smash is now right behind him as well. So Vadkin had a lot of luck on where he actually caught up to Ian and had the possibility to pass him very quickly. Slick should now follow, and now Smash is the one who's just trying to stick the nose in there, because he knows if you now get stuck behind Ian, he'll lose that time to Slick, but can't make that move stick, and now Ian is back ahead, and now we have that tight section with the Anderson Bridge coming up where they won't be able to overtake. With a good run there through the hairpin down onto the straight, and is pass, and also Gertz is now having a look. Well, can he make it stick? And he can't for now. That was a bit optimistic there for him, but might work. You can see how Ian is struggling with the grip compared to the others. Obviously his tyres are 11 laps older. But I'm not quite sure why he is fighting so much, and we can see nobody now actually going past Gertz there in that extremely tight section where you usually don't overtake, but Gertz could hold up behind Ian so much that he forgot to look into his rearview mirror because nobody was there, and now he is in front of Gertz. And we shan't not forget that nobody and Gertz are the two championship leaders. They're equal on points, so nobody now being ahead of Gertz means he's going to be ahead in the championship.
Wow, but that was an incredible fight in that third sector, very tight and twisty one.
Yeah, nobody now up into P2, and he will have to move up a few further spots if he wants to stay first in the championship, because it is that tight at the front at the moment.
Yeah. Remember that every position, every point will count now. As we've said at the beginning, the 2/3 of the season will be gone after this race. That's how crucial these points are now. But still, Ian seems to have great defensive drive.
Yeah, Gertz.
And Gertz is losing a lot of time.
Yeah, he messed up with the entrance into the hairpin, and then just didn't have to run out down the straight where there would have been a potential overtaking opportunity. And Gertz coming sideways there out of the corner, and he again has to watch his rearview mirrors. Doesn't get surprised by Nameless the way he did by Nobody.
Yeah, if Nameless takes that position from Gertz, he will lose. Obviously, he will lose some more points. But still, Ian drives really well on those used tires. Nameless gets a 3-second time penalty. Mr. Alcal has also caught up to them. So the fight will now get very fierce.
And Gertz going for the dive. That might have been a bit too deep there, and he actually blocks Signac off there. Nameless goes through. I'm not sure if Ian, sorry, not Signac, I'm still used to saying that, if he has any front wing damage. Doesn't look like it, although there was some slight contact to the diffuse of Gertz there, and that really didn't help him. I mean, he gained one, but he lost one, and the one he lost, that is more crucial than the one that he has gained.
Yeah, but that also wasn't the best decision that Gerks took, because yes, he's overtaken Ian, but my Nameless took that spot very, very easily, because both of them went too deep. Well, one of them was forced very deep, but yeah.
Yeah, and to get past Ian, Gerks has lost 2 positions, one to I Nameless and one to Nobody, and it has cost him a lot of time, seeing that he is 6.5 seconds behind Nobody.
He must be fuming in that cockpit.
And lap 19, as I predicted, Ian is in the pits.
Lap 19, so that means all the guys, the leaders, should take these tires to the end, but they will be absolutely destroyed.
Now Gerks is hunting down I Nameless because he wants that position back, and he's probably driving with all the weapons he has, because I bet he's going to be pretty pissed with himself that he messed that up the way he did, and now he has to try and get that position back.
Garrix is now closing down on I Nameless. He will try to retake his P5. And one thing is, of course, to catch Garrix, but the other is to overtake him.
Just having a look, we have a small battle here for the last point of tonight's race. That is P10, and Smeej, followed by the 2 Saubers of Johnny John and Skatey, who have been following each other pretty closely for quite some time now. You can see Smeej struggling a bit with the rears there. The rear stepping out on acceleration there.
Assassin went too deep in turn 14. He wasn't the wall, but unlike the Striker, he didn't get disqualified for reversing on the track. The race has sort of gone down. Like nothing really happens right now. Apex in the pit lane. We don't have big direct fights now.
And as you say that, Johnny John had a little look there against Smeej, but he wasn't really close enough, so that was a bit desperate, really. But
yeah,
he at least he wasn't brake early enough to still make it round that corner.
That's what I should say. To say that it's boring, and then boom, we have a fight. Goodness me, it's still only lap 20.
Yeah, it is a pretty long race. So we've still got 11 laps to go as Apex gets a 3-second time penalty there.
Well, everyone will get a time penalty sooner or later. That's for sure.
Matthias also closed up behind Kohler now. Should be close enough to get DRS on the front straight here, which he does. But that straight is pretty short, so usually you only get close with the DRS there, and then you use that to be close in the first sector here, and then overtake on the longer straight here.
Ian with the fastest lap of the race, but he's 8 seconds behind Skatey. If he manages to catch Skatey quickly, we might have a fight and a train fighting for P10. So that final... I'm sorry for that. For that final point. Vatkan has gone off into the distance, and only the penalty keeps him off the... will keep him off the win.
Well, run off into the distance is not really true. It's 2.5 seconds, so yes,
Yeah.
a penalty more or less could still decide this race. And obviously, now that everybody is not involved in fights and can just drive and use their tyres and their fuel as they see fit, it's going to be interesting to see if Vatkin still has the issues he had at the beginning of the season, which was he had trouble with high tyre degradation towards the end of the stint. So we'll have to wait and see if that still is a problem of his, or if he has learned to save his tyres a bit better for the back end of the stint.
I'm looking at the penalty warnings, and Slick seems to be very, very clean. Vatkin has one penalty, but seems like Slick has one warning? Maybe two, yeah, 2 warnings. So he's very, very clean.
Ian with another fastest lap, and I think that actually was in the 39s.
Yeah, he's catching very quickly. It's a matter of, well, 2 or 3 laps, and he will be behind Skaten. So we will have a fight, maybe. Slick is... well, the gap between Vatkin and Slick is oscillating between 2.5 and 3 seconds. So the penalty may change the outcome of the race, or it may not. It remains to be seen in 8 laps now.
Yeah, and Gerks hasn't managed to overtake Ineos. He hasn't even managed to keep up with Ineos. Instead, now again has to watch this rearview mirror because Mr. Ankara's there.
Yeah.
And getting ever so close. So now he is around about half a second behind Gertz and should be in a good position to overtake. Obviously, if he gets this corner right, it's a decent drive, although it is still a bit down to Gertz, so not really close enough. But Gertz is in a position where, again, he shouldn't make yet another mistake. He has done a few of them this race. So he is under pressure, that's for sure. And that is what happened. There's Apex in the wall. He said he was losing positions here, so we can't see what happened there.
Well, he seems to maybe doesn't have any damage, but maybe he was in the wall. 8 comes into the pit lane.
Again,
yeah.
and he picks up a fresh set of ultra soft tyres, so he might try and set a lap record of the fastest lap. Currently, Ian has that. And he rejoins right there in that top group. Just behind. It's going to be interesting to see whether he will try and unlap himself. Ian with a 3-second penalty there. And now Mr. Anker is pretty close to Gertz, closer than he was last lap. This could be his opportunity to try and make a move against the Haas driver here. He's having a small look, but he's still not quite close enough there. So for now he stays back there in P7 as he nearly runs over Gertz. 6 laps to go after this one. Let's have a little look at our top 10. Vadkin in the McLaren still leading. He's doing pretty well at this stage, although he's again losing a little bit of time to Slick. And I'm not trying to call it, but it's coming to the back end of the stint, just saying it. Obviously, as mentioned, Slick behind, just now under 2 seconds to the leader. Smash in the second McLaren is in P3rd, another good race from him there. And nobody in P4. That behind him is the lapped car of what's that? 8? No, sorry, 8. Sorry. I'm nameless in the Ferrari. Good, solid race so far in P5. Gerks in P6 and went back quite a ways. Started from P2. Mr. Anker in the Williams following very closely in P7, and we're actually going to stay with them now and have a look if Mr. Anker is going to be close enough for an overtake this lap around. It hasn't worked for him the last two laps, but again he's not quite close enough yet. So maybe he has to wait until Gerks gets a bad run out of that corner, and maybe that will help him. Caught up to the fighting group for P10 there. He's now behind the 2 Saubers and Smeech, and he has way more grip on those fresh ultra soft tyres compared to the old super softs that the other drivers are on, and he's actually struggling with trying to not absolutely run them over in the slow corners. So it should be a matter of time until he can slice his way through that group of cars there.
Well, the DRS will help, and it's only P10 he can achieve in this race. That could be worth anything, but he has a grip, he may do that.
You can now see Skatey going defensive in a lot of those corners there. That's a bit wide there, Freen, but should be alright. And there he goes for a move down the inside, coming down the straight, and as soon as he was side by side with the Skatey there, that was just easy pickings for him due to the great amount of grip that he has compared to the Sauber, and he will try and get the next Sauber as quickly as possible so he can try and attack Smeech for P10 and the final point that will be awarded tonight.
Yeah, 2 more cars and 5 more opportunities. I think he has a chance of overtaking Smeech and taking the final point. Slick has now closed quite dramatically to Vadkan. Maybe Vadkan is now experiencing those old tire issues. Nobody got a 3-second time penalty again. But yeah, maybe Vadkan is coming back to what's been haunting him for the whole season, those tire issues. Because Slick has made some dramatic inroads.
Yeah, and although Slick is pretty much flying towards the lead, Smash is still holding up with him, so he can hold the pace that Slick has. And if there is a fight emerging between Vadkan and Slick, Smash will be up there pretty quickly.
7/10 between them. And what? 4 laps to go will be? Yeah, 4 laps to go when we go next on mine. Ian is now up in P11 and he has Smeech to overtake.
Yeah, as we were talking about, Luigi actually got past the salvo of Johnny John, and now it's only Smeech that is hindering from gaining a championship point tonight, and he will try and get rid of Smeech there as quickly as he can. But we must not forget that battle for the lead of the race, which has now emerged. Slick only half a second now behind Vadkin, and it seems like Vadkin again is struggling with his tyre wear towards the end of the stint, as we're seeing a lot this season. And again, you can see he's really struggling with the rears going sideways out of that corner, although his run wasn't great, but he should still be far enough ahead, which he is. But considering how many penalties everybody had this race, we can't really 100% say what's going to happen on the line here, because depending on penalties, everything could be shuffled around. I mean, even Smash could win. So we definitely have an eye on that. But obviously, I mean, finishing first on track, even though if you then don't win due to penalty, is still soothing. Let's put it that way. So it's still nice if you win on track, and you can see Slick is pretty close to Vadkin, but again runs out of straight here.
So just let me be quick here. Ian is now up into P10, just to let you know.
Decent job there from Ian, and looks like his strategy has worked, kind of.
Yeah, I mean, he's in the points. So.
Yeah, but now he's 8.5 seconds behind the next car, so that's probably the position he's going to stay in. And Slick now really close.
I tell you what, I think Vatkan may even lose podium place today. If he gets overtaken by Slick quickly enough, and I see it coming here into turn 8, maybe a dive bomb like we see now, but he's still behind, so Vatkan is still defending. Ake has retired from the session. He is in the garage, and he is parked his car.
Yeah, he was already so close to being able to get the move done on Vadkin. They already had tyres side by side, but just wasn't close enough, and he was absolutely on the limit of grip there under braking. Again, now he's pretty close, but he's going to run out of straight. So either he has to be lucky that Vadkin gets a bad run out of a slow corner onto a straight when he gets a good one, or maybe he has to just wait for a slip up from Vadkin and just try and apply the pressure as much as he can. And he must not forget there's Smash behind them, and he is closing in. While managing all of that, obviously they still have to watch out that they don't receive more penalties.
Yeah, I'm looking at their telemetry, and Vatkan is low on fuel as well. Slick has some sort of well, not much fuel, but he has like half a lap of fuel more.
Yeah, considering there's only 2 laps to go, he should be able to run rich in most of the places, whereas Vadkin is not. You can see he's in standard actually here.
Yeah.
But seeing as if Slick is again not quite close enough. Smash also with enough fuel for this final few laps. So Vadkin is not in the best of positions at the moment.
Yeah, especially Slick is still in that rich fuel mix. So, you know, those short straights like the Esplanade Drive coming into turn 14. Maybe Anderson Bridge is too short, but who knows? There are plenty of short or medium long straights where you can overtake into going into those slow corners. Let's see now. Coming in turn 14. Having a look, but still Slick is behind. And we'll have final lap next time we go by. So in time for a regroup, I should say I would say recharging batteries, but that's not the case.
That's not an issue in this year's game. Next year, it will be a factor in the new F1 game. But that is a whole different story, and we're going to concentrate on this final battle now, which is effectively a three-way battle. We can't say 100% what's going to play out in forms of penalties, but the three are duking it out for the lead now on the last lap of the race. Vadkin, Slick and Smasher, the top three group, and Slick now on this straight the last time, so that might be his last chance to get past Vadkin, unless he can surprise him coming into one of the corners. You can see he commits, brakes as late as he can, but also does Vadkin, and still can't get past. Now Smash is trying to get past Slick, sticking the nose in there, but also he's not really close enough, and that's not really one of the spots where you can try that. But all three of them want to win this race very badly, and they are gonna fight for it.
But I think we won't have any position swap on track, because we are now heading into the final sector of the race, and only penalties can now change anything. Just 4 corners? No, 6 corners to go still.
Yeah, as they come under the grandstand here, Vadkin has a chicane and the final corner to go, and it looks like he can hold on to the track position at the moment, as now the three of them come round the last corner. Vadkin will cross the line first, but Slick actually gets that win due to penalties, and it's Slick P1, Vadkin second, Smash will stay in third here. Inamus actually gains fourth, nobody crashes across the line and will take P5. With Mr. Anku got past Gurks there, but loses his back due to penalties now. And Kodal with a solid race finishes in P9, loses place to Mattis there due to penalties. And Ian with a solid second stint there and a good first stint finishes in 12, unfortunately, after he just had too many penalties, because he fought for that last point, and Sleege is actually the one who will get that last point. And this was definitely a race that was decided by quite a few penalties here, but Slick comes out on top. He was fast, he put Vadkin under pressure, and he stayed clean. That was the most important part of this race tonight.
But somehow Vadkin is still in P2.
Yeah, Smash also had a penalty.
Yeah.
And that should mean that Slick is now in the championship lead, if I'm right. Because he was 6 points behind, wasn't he?
Yeah.
And now he's gonna gain... is it 12 or 10?
For P4 or
It's 10.
P5? It's 10. For P5 it's 10, yeah.
Yeah. So Slick is gonna gain 15 points. It puts him ahead by 9. Because Gurks and nobody only finished in P5 and 6. So that is the conclusion of the Singapore Grand Prix. Here we have the final standings for your viewing pleasure, and again it was a very very exciting race, and Slick with a very decent drive. Got on top there, very deserved for him, and yeah, sometimes just keeping it clean is a key to a win in this series.
Yeah, certainly. So now we're waiting for the drivers and the press conference.
Press conference, I haven't put it that way yet.
Well, let's call it.
It is, kinda. So we're just gonna wait for the drivers to get ready for their interviews. And that is F1 drivers. So we're still waiting for F2. So still nobody there. Usually it takes for them a few minutes to just cool down, have a bit of a drink, and maybe quickly discuss one or two scenes from the race. But you know me, if they're too slow, they won't get a chance to choose. So let's just get the race winner there. Good evening. Can you hear us?
We can indeed. I can indeed.
I thought, are you several persons now? Well,
I assumed there would be multiple people. But...
well, first of all, congratulations, obviously, to that win. As I'm gonna invite Smash as well, and yeah, great race from everyone. And again, we had a race that was decided by penalties. Tell us a bit more about that.
Oh, penalties. I had 2 warnings since lap 14, and I was so stressed out not to get another one, because from previous races, I just knew worst case scenario Vatican would have some penalties. But obviously I wanted to get the overtake on track. I did try a couple times. It's a shame that it had to be like that, but I'm just happy that I won on my favorite track.
Oh, that's nice. Congratulations again. Yeah, I mean, it was a bit of a lottery in qualifying, really, was it? We could see that it was dribbling a bit at the beginning, but obviously we don't have the weather forecast that you guys have, as Julio's microphone is again disintegrating.
Yeah, I know. Sorry for that.
How tricky weather conditions in qualifying, and how important was it to actually be the first out on track?
Well, I looked at the weather forecast and saw that there is rain later in the session, so I thought, okay, maybe everyone will get one dry lap in, a proper one-shot qualifying, but then on the out lap it started raining midway through, and obviously since I'm in the Mercedes, my garage is the furthest ahead from the pit exit, so by the time I went out I had half the field in front of me. And included in that were the McLarens and Gurks, so obviously their track was just that little bit more dry when they set their laps, so they started ahead. But actually, to be honest, I wasn't that mad, because Ross, nobody had great pace, and I really wanted to start the race ahead of him, and that happened. So in a way, I won some, I lost some, but yeah, it was definitely tricky you couldn't push in qualifying on the greasy track, because yeah, obviously it was raining a bit.
Yeah, and also congratulations to Smash, to another solid race there, finishing in P3, and also closing in a bit on the drivers at the top in the standings. So congratulations to that. And are you happy with how the race went, considering it was a bit chaotic, to be fair?
I don't know. what to tell, but pretty much I would say I'm happy because my goal was to be on podium in this race as it's one of my favorite tracks, and I was just trying to keep my head down at the start. I was lacking a little bit of confidence and I just couldn't find good rhythm. But yeah, pretty much don't know what to say really. I know that in the super soft stint, when in the final laps, when I started to close up on Slig and Vatkan, I hoped that they have some sort of penalties, like more than me, because I knew that I have 3-second time penalty, and I wasn't really bothered about nobody because he had penalties also. So I was just focusing at the fight on the front, and yeah, in the final lap, it was really chaotic, and in turn 6, I saw a gap that Slick left there, so I tried to go for it, but it didn't work out. But overall, still happy with P3 and good points for the team also. And I think this is also the first time when me and Vatkan have shared podiums in the race.
Yeah, so a big congratulations to that. And as I just wanted to sneak Gurks out of his Discord group, he has no muted himself, so he might be away. I'm still going to try anyway. Gurks, can you hear us?
Yes, I can.
Ah, good evening. And yeah, let's start at the beginning of tonight. Really, that was qualifying, which was impacted quite a lot through rain. Although you seem to fare pretty well in the conditions. Say, how important do you think it was that you were one of the first that got to set their lap?
I think it was the most important thing to come out from the pit first. And after the qualification session, I was happy. But that race was... I don't know what happened, because during practice sessions, I had so much better pace, and I was not confident because I hate this track and I think it's the weakest track for me. But I tried to survive and I failed this mission.
Yeah, quite a few driving errors, I'd say, from you during this race. Are you quite upset with you after this after this result of this race?
Yes, I am.
Because yeah, we had a few scenes that were not so good. You're trying to overtake Ian there, who was on a different strategy that didn't go very well twice, and yeah, just lost positions in the first stint as well quite a bit. So what is your approach? Are you going to change the way you approach the season? Is there anything you think you have to improve on?
Well, I won't be able to race in the USA, so I wanted to score as much as point as I can. But I couldn't handle the pressure, and I don't know what to do. That's really hard because it's a 5-way battle for the championship, and you cannot make any mistakes, and you could see why.
It is definitely very close at the moment, and if I haven't miscalculated, I'm just going to have a quick sneak at the standings, and you can have a look at it as well. But if I haven't miscalculated, Slick, you are now championship leader.
Back where I belong. Just kidding. No one can afford to make a slightest mistake in this championship because the lead fluctuates all the time. So let's hope I can continue this form, but anything can happen.
Yeah, does this now put the pressure on you, or are you trying to stay relaxed?
I just try to do the best result I can every race. We'll see how it goes in the next races.
All right then. Yeah, that's the conclusion of this race. Obviously, I want to thank Julio for joining me in the commentary box as usual.
Thank you. It was a pleasure for me.
And obviously, thanks to everyone who participates in this league and provides these great, exciting races. And obviously, thank you to everyone who is watching. Obviously, without you, these streams won't be much of a stream, would they? And closing off, also, I want to thank Apex Online Racing. Great platform for online racing. We see this every week. Big shout out to your sponsors, Hype Energy, who sponsor this league, and Elgato, who make these streams possible. And I hope to see everyone next week when the real Formula 1 will be in Austria, as well as will be AOR. And that again should be a pretty exciting race. So hope seeing you, most of the drivers, or as many as can afford the time. Hope to see them next week, and hope to see a lot of you guys at home who watch the stream every week to see you next week. So thank you everyone. My name is Thompson. See you next week. Good night.